building the equity, appreciation on property, depreciation for taxes. Those are the biggest thing. Cash flow is kind of like icing on the cake or a cherry on top.
If you're brand new, just get in, get your feet wet, get that first rental, use the FHA program, whatever you need to do to just get in the game and start playing. This is real life and Monopoly that we're playing, and you need to roll the dice.
The definition of success needs to change. So if you're not changing your definition of success, let's say every 3 to 5 years, you're probably not growing.
Really digging deep and learning appraisals. That I recently disputed 4 appraisals and they all came back higher, either near or at the number that it was supposed to.
Welcome everyone to today's mastermind panel, our real estate investor panel. We have 3 handpicked experienced real estate investors that are going to pull back the curtains on their business. We are going to discuss the changing in markets, how they run their operation, how they stay competitive in this type of market. You know, Tony really got this idea. We've been doing a lot of one-on-one podcasts, but we felt like getting 3 people to share at once and kind of hear each other's and have feedback and just kind of bounce off each other, that this would open a lot of, good conversations. So excited to bring this to you. If you're on Zoom with us live right now, welcome. You have the opportunity to ask questions down below in the Q&A section. If you are watching the replay and you want to be a part of these future calls, just either give Tony an email or me an email, and we can get you access. These calls are for our 10X TV clients, but we are going to start opening them up to outside community as well. Panelists, you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Awesome. If you guys want to do a quick intro, just who you are, where you invest, your specialty, and then maybe one fun fact. Don't be afraid to brag about yourself a little bit, but one fun fact about yourself as well. I'll have Matt go first.
I'm in the hot seat straight away. I'm Matt Shepard, and I'm out of Denver, Colorado, kind of on the north side of Denver. And I've been investing in Denver Metro for 15, 20 years, going on 20 years. Started in 2008, 2009. I'd like to say that I've probably done every kind of real estate investment deal that I can think of. Not too much on the commercial side, but have looked at it. Done fix and flip, rental, burrs. I can't imagine anything that I haven't tried to do. I'm currently doing fix and flips, rentals, long-term, mid-term, short-term. Getting deep into AI right now, trying to optimize my business with AI.
Awesome. Love it. Willie?
Yeah, Willie Mandrell. I'm here in the Northeast, Boston specifically. Everything I've done here, bought my first multifamily house hack. Was a big fan of bigger pockets and kind of creating financial freedom over the years back in the day. So 2006, bought my first one. We're in 2026, so 20 years deep. About 100 plus units here. Primarily what we do is buy and hold, the BRRRR strategy primarily, and everything here in the Northeast. New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, Boston, Connecticut. It is all triple deckers. We have 3 families here. I'm not sure exactly how far you have to go south before they start to disappear, but everything's a triple decker here, and we that's all we buy is just the 3 families over and over again. Yeah, and just like I said, just the goal at the end of the day is just to create financial freedom, just to buy enough to have that cash flow replace our monthly expenses and keep it going. So
Awesome. Love it. Mario?
All right. Man, the last one, I don't know, this might make me a little sweat a little bit. Mario Fernandez, also known on socials as This Cop Flips, THIS Cop Flips. I'll tell you a little bit about that after. But I'm here. I live in the Broward County, Florida market. I invest in the Broward County, Florida market and in the Montgomery County, Dayton, Ohio market. That's where I have all of my units. I started back in 20. I had a soft start back in 2015. I basically house hacked when I didn't know what house hacking was. Lived in a property, moved out, rented that one, and obviously lived in the new one. And that was my soft entry. Then in 2017, got full into real estate investing. I started wholesaling. Did a lot. I've done a lot of wholesaling, still do it to this day. And I burr, I flip. I mainly do the BRRRR strategy for all of the properties in Broward and in Ohio. And the fun fact is I've been a cop or law enforcement since 2005. And in 2018, I retired. I thought it was 5 years ago, but actually way more than that. So what, that's 8 years ago. I retired at around 32, 33, and I started opening up my real estate investing company. It's all been put it out fires from there.
Awesome. Love it. Cool. First question I have for you guys, obviously, last year was very different than the year prior. What are you doing differently in 2026 compared to the last few years, and how has the market shifted your current strategy? We'll start with you, Matt.
I actually bought a lot of fix and flip last year. I didn't buy too many on the rental side. Owners were just still stuck on, 2020 pricing and whatnot, but I didn't see too many rental deals. But I still bought fix and flips. I think if you are putting a good product out there when you're done, then you're still going to have buyers. There's still people that need to move. So I think as long as you're putting out a good product, you're going to be able to sell it. We definitely weren't seeing any kind of like bidding wars or anything like that. But if you're coming onto the market well priced with a good product, I think you're still going to move it.
Awesome. Willie?
Yeah, 2026 or 2025, the last 18 months, 2 years has just been really confusing for me. Boston's always been a hot market. MIT is here, Harvard University is here, some of the best hospitals, some of the best schools in the world. So we've always had a really good rental market. It's always been really, really strong. Not to get too deep politically, but there's been a lot of rhetoric, a lot of things that have pushed out the level of international students that we have here. I went to Northeastern, big international school. I think, when I was sitting in class, I remember having at least 50% of the kids that were in my class be from outside of the country. So, we strive when the international population is coming, like I said, in America's inviting and, things like that. So a lot of it's politics, some of it's the economics, but things have been really different in the last 18 months, a couple of years. We've been kind of, surviving it, so to speak. We've been keeping rents relatively low. We haven't been as aggressive in rental increases as we have in the past. We've stepped away from construction just a little bit. Interest rates are still relatively high. Construction costs are still relatively high as well. So I've been spending the last 18 months basically just reorganizing my business. I agree with Matt. I've been exploring a lot with AI, just trying to figure out how to automate a lot of things. I'm under the belief that we go through ebbs and flows through the economy. I think when things come back, they're going to come back, especially in, some of these, popular cities really, really strong, and they're going to come back really, really quickly. I think a 0.5% dip in interest rates to 1% is going to just completely just explode inventory in the market. So I'm really trying to just basically prepare myself for that, get as much automation into the business as possible, really prepare my staff, put systems in place, just organize as much as I can. So when that upswing does come, we're ready for it.
Awesome. Awesome. Mario?
I have to definitely agree with both Matt and Willie. It's the market is kind of unknown, kind of up and down. The rental market, going from what Willie said, it's not appreciating as it did back 2024 or prior. So obviously the rents have to stay around the same. Getting, quality tenant is really important. So I guess the change in my end is I was doing a lot of wholesaling back then. Now I am moving more towards the fix and flip and the burr. Definitely that's my main strategy. Kind of the wholesaling part is just to get some money to be able to market and find my properties that I want. Because I truly believe that the initial part of the wholesaling about finding the good deal is where everything starts. And if you know that, or if you have a good grasp of that about marketing, sales, talking to sellers and stuff like that, everything else will come after. So I built those skills up. I'm not the guru or the best or the best closer, but having genuine conversations with people. So the change is that for me, learning the adjustment of the market as far as the rents, and basically moving more towards fix and flips to get up the capital more to buy more and more rentals for financial freedom and let the cash flow, which in my opinion, and guys correct me if I'm wrong, cash flow it sounds really good, but it's not as good as it sounds, if that makes sense. My whole thing is equity, building the equity appreciation on property, depreciation for taxes. Those are the biggest thing. Cash flow is kind of like icing on the cake or a cherry on top. because when you buy a property in here, at least in South Florida in 2015, and then it 150% grows, in 2025, which I did, and I refinanced and all that stuff. That's when it gets good. So I want to do more of that. Buy more rentals, buy more properties. The equity in the areas that the equity tends to grow, or be looking back, 10, 20, 30, 50 years, and just build that equity and then live off that tax-free money on the refis on the back end.
Awesome. I love it. Everyone, if for those that are in here, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. When you guys think about the next 12 months, what would you say you're most optimistic about? And then on the flip side, what concerns you the most as well? Matt, if you want to kick us off.
I mean, I'm super optimistic about AI, but I'm also super apprehensive about AI. The tools that we have at our disposal now are just phenomenal. I always think about like my great grandfather. I usually say if I was going to be a tradesperson, call myself a tradesperson, I'd be like a fourth generation tradesperson. And I think about my great grandfather like writing a ledger about how, he did work for so and so and they owe him this money and he did work for them, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times he would just like checks and balances in the ledger. I got his ledger when he passed away. And I think about how he had to do that by hand. And now the things that I can do with AI in a matter of minutes would just baffle him. I'm super excited about it, but I'm also like super apprehensive about it. Like, what's it going to do in the next 12, 18 months? I'm kind of looking forward to trying to get like a robot to do more construction work for me.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Willie, what about you?
Also excited about AI, but I'll give a different perspective since Matt already touched on that. I personally think, and again, maybe I'm just an optimistic person, but I do think that there's a ton of pent-up inventory ready to just hit the market. I think there's a lot of elderly baby boomer sellers that just have inventory that they just been sitting on. They don't like where the prices are. Their house appraised for 10 for 15% more in 2024. They probably should have sold in. They didn't. Now they're just sitting on. I think banks are sitting on foreclosure inventory that they really just want to leak out into the market. I just think that there's an explosion of inventory coming. I don't know when. I'm hoping it's in the next 12 months, but I truly believe that. And that's why I say I'm getting my business ready. I'm putting systems in place because I think when things hit and things loosen up, I think they're really going to loosen up. And I think the winners are going to be the people who are really prepared and ready to go and can take on 2, 3, 4, 10 deals at one time, have the systems, the resources, the connections in place. I think that's what I'm, most excited about. I think again, whether it happens in the next 12 months, I don't know, but I think it possibly could. The one thing I would say, not to drone on, is that the Fed chairman, again, don't want to get into politics too much, but the Fed chairman, I believe, is changing hands next month, if I'm not mistaken, or something like, I think it's the next couple of months that one of the guys are flipping over. And if the president gets his way, rates are going to get pushed down, rates get pushed down. I think that it's going to really loosen things up, in the market, depending on where you are, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
That chair definitely changes in the next couple of months. I can't remember what the exact date.
I think so. I think it was May, if I'm not mistaken. That the Fed chairman, again, whether you like the guy or not, again, we're talking business here. If the Fed chairman changes and the president gets his way, rates are going to go down. Rates go down. Things are going to start to happen again in the market. And like I said, that's where we make our money at the end of the day. So
100%. Mario, same thing.
Well, I'm optimistic about everything. There's nothing there's nothing that is doom and gloom to me for the future. Honestly and truly, Willie talked about the whole inventory just about to pop. We've been in such a market where things are high or it's harder to invest or something. So we're due for a time for putting a good product out there. We're due for a time for, I guess a buyer's market, an investor's market, or whatever. We're due for that already. So I am definitely super optimistic about that. And I also go by the phrase, Jim Rome. I forget the proper way to say it. Nothing's gonna change unless you change. Okay. Period. The future is going to be the future, and it's going to be the exact same 10 years from now if you don't change. So as far as the technology, which including AI, I think that's great. because I think it's going to take a lot of human error out of a lot of things. Obviously, computers are not perfect, or AI is not perfect, but darn near. It's getting there. So it's going to definitely take the human error out of a lot when it comes to, everything, marketing, following up, appraisals, this, that, and the other. And I'm actually, excited for that because unfortunately, I still think, I don't know, I forgot what generation I'm in, but I still think that there's a lot of things done that are so ancient and maybe, barbaric or whatever you want to call it, the proper word. And I think with technology, things are going to get much better. Just prime example, I did a HELOC on my primary a couple months ago or a year ago or so, and it was all virtual. I didn't talk to anybody, and everything was approved and everything was done, and boom, 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 signed online, and it was like this is amazing. So for us business owners to be able to implement AI and technology and all the things like that, you don't have to follow up with people anymore. You can actually do an automated system to follow up with them and change the wording and everything. So technology is going to make things much easier, much better. Barrier to entry might be a little bit lower because of that, and that could affect a little bit, but it still doesn't. I see positive in everything, really and truly. There's nothing that really to me is like, oh my God, this is going to happen. I do hear some states having rental restrictions or rental increase cap or something like that. You got to go with what's going on. You have to ebb and flow and duck and dodge and move and where whatever is going on. And I'm sure where there's a will, there's a way. But yeah, I'm more optimistic about everything else.
Want to get motivated sellers that nobody knows about? Introducing 10x TV. If you want to create credibility in your market, find deals that nobody else knows about, and crush your competition, you need to check into TV commercials. It is the new buzz in the real estate investing industry since we introduced it several years ago. I've been using TV commercials myself for the last 12 years and it's absolutely crushed it. So if you want to learn how to get on TV and to do something that little to no people are doing right now, go to claimmymarket.com. Again, that's claimmymarket.com. We usually only work with 2 investors per market, so if you're interested, reach out to us and book a call to see if you can claim your market before anybody else does. Now back to the show.
What's everyone's team structure look like right now? Matt, did you have something you wanted to bring?
I was just going to jump in there and say, I literally jumped off another mastermind call to jump on this call. And it's my like weekly AI mastermind that I'm part of with another guy who's just, if there's something beyond the bleeding edge, then he's on it. He's developing stuff that makes my head spin sometimes. And he's doing an AI that writes compliance documents for like federal compliance and stuff like that. And he's got the AI to the point where it's 98% accurate on compliance documents. And if I remember right, he was saying that humans are usually about 78%. So we're in a
So,
pretty strange time right now.
And
so
going and going back to, I'm sorry, Willie. And going back to that, I have a quick short story. I don't want to drag it along, but this is really good. I had another company, a trucking company, several years ago, where I owned car carrier trucks, and there was an issue with the bank that I got the truck from, that the truck had to be returned or whatever it is, whatnot. And then they want to come back and sue me for where they weren't supposed to sue me for, X reasons, or they shouldn't have or something. Um, I got an attorney, obviously, to fight it and, to do whatever it is to settle. The attorney didn't do anything. And this was a recommended attorney that dealt with those type of cases and everything. Didn't do anything. I think dragged the thing along for around like 4 years. 4 years. Okay. At the end of the day, 4 years ago, obviously AI wasn't the way it is now. I literally fought that case with AI telling me what to say, what not to say, and what to write, what not to write, and how to do it, and I won. I didn't have to pay him anything. You know what I mean? And it was supposed to be like that. They weren't supposed to, and that's why I won it. But it was all through AI that was able to help me with something like that. So the possibilities are endless as long as you know what to say, what to do, what to put in, how to organize it, how to automate it, stuff like that. And for some of the what's the best word? The more seasoned generation, not to say the older generation, but more seasoned, you that it has to be, we have to get on it. It's just what it is because it's just like I do the example of Blockbuster. Blockbuster went out of business because they didn't want to get on the whole online, Netflix type of watching, and they went out of business. And I remember there was a story behind it. It was like, oh no, we're a video or DVD company in store. And look, that's gone. There's no more video stores or anything like that. You have to go with the times. So I don't want to rant, but it's the reality.
So, Tony, really quickly, we talked about some positives of AI. So, my fear with AI is something like this, and I think Matt kind of touched on it as well already. AI can be great. Let's say it gets 100% of things right, but in the real estate business, sometimes things need a handshake. Sometimes things need, and again, I'm not saying this is right, but I'm saying this is the way that business works. Let's say AI is doing appraisals, and AI says that your building is worth 800,000. To the nail, it's 800,000. Sometimes you need that building be worth 810,000 to get that loan done. And sometimes Steve will get that done with you with a handshake, but AI is going to say, no, that building is worth 800,000 and that's just it, right? I've done 20 appraisals with Steve. Steve knows me. He's known I've been a long-term real estate investor. I really need this one to get done just so we can refi out of this burst strategy, but I can't get that extra $10,000 bump because AI said, no, it's absolutely not worth 810. It's worth 800 flat. So that's where it gets kind of like, yeah, AI can get everything right, but sometimes you need, a person in there as well to say, yeah, this deal still does make sense even at an extra 10,000.
Yeah,
That's that
100%.
3% that Matt was saying.
Yeah.
That 3% or 5% or whatever
Yep.
it was.
Sometimes it's like I said, it sometimes 100% right is not the way to go.
I agree. I agree.
Sometimes you're going to need a human in there, and that's my fear with AI is we get too reliant on the data, the precision, and we take the human nature out of it. And it kills deals, it kills opportunities, it just kills things. There's going to be certain people, some young investor, right, who's going to go and say, data, here's the rents, blah, blah, blah. And it's not going to hit your metrics perfectly. And you're going to kill the deal. You probably should have done that deal, but you're going to, and like Mario referenced, sometimes if you're in these, these cities, appreciation is really what you're after, not necessarily cash flow. And that is something that you're going to have to sometimes sit around and wait for. And sometimes you're going to have to, you build in through construction and stuff like that. So I guess without droning on, the idea is that AI is great, but AI can or could take the human nature out of certain things and really change industries and really change, industries because we're not thinking with our heads anymore. We're too reliant on the algorithm.
Yeah, 100%. What's everyone's team look like? Just real quick, kind of if your guys are one man shows, if you have a small team, VAs, just kind of explain what that looks like and what you guys are doing more day-to-day stuff. Matt, if you want to kick it off.
I mean, I'm trying to use AI for everything. I'm as lean and mean as possible. It's pretty much just me, my wife, and then I use real estate agents for buying and selling. I've never really wanted to be my own real estate agent. And then I use property managers for managing rentals. And then we have our own construction arm, crew, whatever you want to call it. That's like the one thing that we still have people for, really, I guess. And
And
we
those are
have
those are
we have
W-2 or those are independent?
I keep all my guys 1099 W-2. I should say girls because I got all my people. I should say people. I keep them all 1099. We went the employee route back in, I don't know, 2010, 12. And I just got to the point where I had enough people on payroll that I really needed to have an HR department. And like that just seems stupid to me to have an HR department just to deal with government bureaucracy. I mean, maybe now I could do it with AI, so maybe I should look back into that. But I try to stay lean and mean, and all my guys are 1099. So if like things are slow, I can take a day off, go work for somebody else, whatever.
Awesome. Cool. Willie?
I am a little bit more of a control freak than Matt is, so we do all of our property management in-house. It's myself, my brother, my sister, and we have about three other virtual assistants that work with us. They're out of Philadelphia, Virginia, Florida. One is an accountant, one does our communications, basically arguing back and forth with tenants and putting out the fires all day that Mario referenced. And another one is more or less kind of a backup, nights, weekends, and stuff like that. So, and then that's just the property management side. And then I have a couple of virtual assistants that work with me on marketing and, some of the educational platforms that I put out there. So.
Awesome.
But I agree with Matt. Everyone's 1099. Even my family. I don't want to deal with the headaches of the W-2.
Fair enough. Mario, what about you?
Well, I definitely what Matt said. I've always looked to stay lean and mean. Too many people is too many moving parts, and it's just not the best. So I do in-house property management as well. I have my VA. He handles everything. He's on my property management system, leases, repairs, everything. He handles everything. If he needs something from me, shoot me a quick text him back. He handles it. So that's on the property management side for the rentals. For the acquisitions of properties, that's kind of pretty much another department. I have also a virtual assistant as well that she goes in there and handles the CRM and makes the calls that she needs to make and makes contact with the people she needs to and kind of answers the phone slash does everything else like my right hand person on the acquisitions. On the management of the properties, I have like an arm as well, like Matt says, of contractors and subcontractors that I tell them, hey, go, how much does this cost, and go do it, go handle it. And they're 1099s, but basically, real team is only two virtual assistants, one for the property management, one for the acquisitions, and yeah, that's basically it.
Awesome.
I
What
just
is, yeah, go
I
for it, man.
just throw in there. I actually started out doing all my own property management, and I think it was like 2016-ish. Colorado just started giving us so much stuff to adapt to every year, new legislation, new regulations. I just gave up. My property manager, local Denver property manager, probably spends a good, we're probably going to wrap up the legislative session here pretty soon. And he'll probably spend the next 3 months just revising all his compliance documents just to keep up. That's the way it's been for a good 5, 6 years. So it was just so bad I couldn't keep up that I gave up and let somebody else do it.
Yeah, that's fair. What is your guys' top marketing channel right now? And why do you think it's performing everything else? Mara, if you want to go first, what are you doing for marketing right now?
I'm doing direct mail. I've done a lot of marketing, a lot of different forms of marketing. Direct mail is basically the only one I'm using right now, because direct mail to me it's very it's not hands off, but sort of, if that makes sense. And I was looking for something where I can put the marketing out, get a good target property or audience, and let them come to me. I was doing a lot of outbound marketing, which direct mail is a form of outbound marketing, but they have to call you in. I was doing a lot of outbound, and it was just mind that. And it was really bad. So I decided to move to direct mail, and that's the only one I have. So that's the only one I can talk about. I still do have what I also do now is reach out to wholesalers through every single wherever a wholesaler sits, I'm going to be there. Social media, here, there, title companies I reach out to. I reach out to a lot of agents as well. So I do a lot of outreach to real estate professional and attorneys' offices and stuff like that, which I do, and my assistant helps me as well. But the paid marketing channel is basically direct mail and a lot of outreach to different professionals.
Awesome. Awesome. Willie?
I've done a little bit of everything over the years. I mean, I've done bandit signs, door hangers, direct mail, cold calling, ugly houses list. I've done a little bit of everything. Lead pages we were doing for years. which work really well. The problem is whatever you're doing, somebody else is catching on. You might be a year ahead or a couple of years ahead, and then eventually it gets saturated and it stops working. But today, primarily, and what I find that can't really be replicated is education. So here in Boston, we have Boston Wealth Builders. It's a platform on Meetup. It's about 3,000 people that have come through, young, inspiring investors. And we just teach. We teach them about acquisitions, property management, cold calling, whatever it may be. We talk about personal finance, anything that they're going through throughout the time. And I find that that group, just educating the public, has helped me versus one to one. You go one to many, and we get calls for private money. Hey, Will, I heard you're doing the burst strategy. I can't necessarily do what you do. I don't want to do what you do. I make a great salary. I work for Google or whatever, but can I invest some cash with you? Hey, Will, I'm 22 years old, 23 years old. I have a great job. I don't really want to get my hands dirty in, this construction thing, but I know you can do it. Can we partner on this deal that I just found? My neighbor is selling their house and it's fire damage. So that one to many, what I'm doing here with you guys right now, speaking on this podcast, is the best form of marketing that I've been putting out there lately is just kind of getting the name, the brand out there to as many people as possible.
Awesome. Matt, what about you?
I think Willie and I are dating ourselves because does anybody know what a bandit sign is anymore?
Yeah, they really don't.
I did them. Trust me, I did them when I
Yeah, you
started.
Yeah.
did.
I still remember like, two people in a car, one person like driving the car and the other person jumps out, throws the sign out and drive
Uh,
down the street again because
sorry,
you didn't
sorry,
want to
Matt.
get hit by cars.
I'm gonna interrupt you really quickly. Do you remember a pole stapler? You used to be able to buy
Yep,
this thing on Amazon,
the long one.
6 feet tall. Most people will never
Boom.
remember that. It was outlawed. It used to be a stapler at the end of a pole. You put it way up on. The police in Boston would hate me. They hated me. I got all types of angry calls.
And then they
But
would
sorry, Matt.
call
Go
you,
ahead.
and then they would call you, and you would be like, "You're not supposed to put it." Oh, I didn't know. They didn't. They shouldn't have put it there. I told them not to.
Exactly.
I
Sorry,
remember that.
Matt.
No, that's fine. I mean, that's one of the good things about doing these things is you get to bounce each other ideas off each other and talk about the old days or whatnot. Um, I mean, kind of the same lines. I've done a little bit of everything. Like you say, you kind of gotta stay nimble and keep trying. I've done direct mailings. I've done, you know, ads on social media, um, branded signs. But I guess I think it was Willie was saying like going back to just getting out there, um, you know, making connections with people and trying to get people to source deals for you. Then maybe you've got something that's too big for them, so they'll hand it to me. Or, maybe I'll partner with somebody and do something that's small that they can get their teeth cut on and learn, stuff like that. And then the other thing I would say is sometimes I don't know what I'm doing actually because I have an AI that does it. Um, I have an AI that will see what other people are doing and make suggestions, whether it's posting ads on social media or doing organic social media posts or videos or etc. Um, so I've got an AI that analyzes what other people are doing and it'll actually in real time pretty much change what I'm doing and try and make changes and get things out there that hopefully are hitting right now. Um, every once in a while, my VA tries to get me to do TikTok, and I just really haven't gotten into that one. But maybe I need to. Maybe I can point an AI at it to do it for me. Um, I just never have been that great at social media. So as soon as I found a shortcut around social media, but to still be on social media, I jumped on it. So AI has been great for social media for me, or a VA.
I know
Yeah,
two
I
of
think
you
we're on
guys are
about the same
in.
page. So go ahead. Sorry, sir.
I know two of you guys are in separate, like, a virtual market as well as your own market. And I think, Willie, you said that you were going to maybe look at another market too. So are you guys' marketing strategies different in your local market than the virtual market? And then Willie, for you, as would it like, are you planning on doing something different than what you're doing in your current market? Like how are you guys playing the you know, uber local to where you live versus like Mario for you in Dayton, and Matt for you in Alabama, and then Willie wherever you end up. Like, how are you planning on playing that, and then how do you play that and the differences of it?
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. Yeah, I had just got off a call with the virtual assistant as soon as before I hopped on with you guys, and I don't think that there is any way. I guess the easiest way to, and hopefully this doesn't sound arrogant, but you can't duplicate me. You can't take the things out of my head and take my personality and the connections that I make with people and somehow put it into an algorithm. So. Again, this is not an attack on Matt. I know he's big on AI, but I'm trying to get away from something that anybody else can duplicate. So I really want to do more speaking, more, engagement, and just kind of really getting back to the old school way of just kind of shaking hands, getting in a room with people. And so the plan is, just taking Wealth Builders, the model, and just moving it into a couple of select cities is what we talked about with my VA, and just kind of going down. And I think Richmond is one of the places we want to. It's Richmond, Charlotte, Atlanta, and kind of duplicating that model. I won't physically be there as often, but we do a lot of webinars, we do a lot of virtual events. And then as I start to explore those models, really be in town. And then there's other RIAs, there's other meetings, there's other real estate investment associations, connecting with those people and saying, hey, Willie Mandrell, guy from Boston, he's got 100 units, blah, blah, blah. He's going to be in town in July. Really like to speak to your audience about blah, 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 and just kind of making those connections slowly. It's going to be a slower build than something like a TikTok would be. But I also agree with Matt. I'm the same age as Mark Zuckerberg. I actually don't like social media at all. I understand that it's a necessary evil. If you find me on social media, I didn't post that. My virtual assistant did. She has 100% control of my accounts. We do a recording on something. I send it over to her. She chops it up. She puts it out there. You could hate me on social media or you could love me. I have no idea because I'm not on there. So,
And difference of me, I've been pushing my social media for the whole brand presence, Willie. And now actually I was gonna ask you like what made you switch to that model or what started you in that model and how did you kind of grow it to the level that you're at now? Because that's something that I'm really interested in putting myself out there. But obviously I'm starting with social media and then, the meetups would, come up and stuff like that. But what was I'm not trying to take your strategy or steal
yeah,
steal
no,
your
take it.
thunder.
No, take it, because at the end of the day, I'm a person of abundance. I really believe that there's enough out there for everybody. I'm never gonna hide secrets and try to blah blah blah.
As
It's
long as
just
I'm not in your market, right? No,
as
I'm just
long as
kidding.
you're
Go
not in my market.
ahead.
No, but I do. I think everybody should just get out there. And I do think I agree with Matt. I think you got to learn AI. You got to stay ahead. I agree with you. Don't be the blockbuster. Don't be the archaic model and so stubborn in your ways that you're going to get pushed out. You have to learn it. But, but I also think that Mario, you can't be duplicated. The knowledge in your head, your personality, I can't remember what your tagline is, but the cop to, whatever, that no one else has that experience. So I think if you can go out there and share that and be more personal, do it through social media. But I think it's a combination of things. I think it's social media and COVID really got us away from just being in a room together and just shaking hands. And I think that people want to do business with people that they trust. And you can build trust in some respect on social media, but I think when I really get in a room with you and share a beer and just have that, genuine conversation, I think that's really what we've gotten away from, and I'm trying to get back to it. So it's just to answer your question more directly, it's just been consistency. Just, there's been meetings where 3 people have shown up, and I've come with the same level of enthusiasm and energy as if 50 people in a room. And I think if you do that and if you're consistently there, providing value and education to people who are inexperienced or people who are just kind of coming into the business, the stuff that's in your head in the 15 years that you've been doing this, I'm the type of person that thinks if I know it, everyone knows it. And I think we need to get away from it and realize that that's not the case. There's a lot of things that you know from just being in the business from a year or two that is massive that a lot of people don't know. And the more that you can get out there and share that, I think it's gonna, like I said, benefit you all through your business. So
I actually think like that a lot. It's like what you said was like what you know doesn't everybody necessarily know.
Right.
And I have that in my mind, like, why would I speak or talk about this? Like, they should know this. But a lot of people don't. And when they don't, I'm like, you don't know what wholesaling is? You don't know that you can buy a rental property and not have to count your income into it, just they're like, no. I was like, wow, okay. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's definitely a good point, Willie. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks.
I know we've talked about this on everyone's individual podcast, but I'm curious to kind of hear this again. How do you personally define success as an investor today, and how has that definition changed from when you first started in the industry? I'll have Willie go first this time.
Today, shit, success is just hanging on. If you can just stay in the business and not get knocked out by interest rates and foreclosures and, declining, international population and everything else, success today is just hanging on. But I think it depends on who you are and where you are in the business. If you're brand new, I tell people all the time, if you're brand new, do not overthink the politics, the interest rates. When I first came in 2006, the interest rate that I got on my first home was 6.75. And I hear a lot of kids today, and say kids, that sounds disrespectful, but if you're in your 20s and you're like, hey, I'm not getting in because my aunt has an interest rate of 2.75 or something like that, don't do that. Get in the game, learn, get some experience. Rates are going to change. They're going to go up. They're going to go down. So it all depends on where you are. I would say if you're brand new, just get in, get your feet wet, get that first rental. Use the FHA program, whatever you need to do to just get in the game and start playing. This is real life and Monopoly that we're playing, and you need to roll the dice. If you've been into it for a little while, and you're someone like me, it's basically just waiting it out, trying to survive from day to day, trying to put out the fires that Mario mentioned, trying to as there's job loss in certain communities, and Facebook's cutting off people, and Google's cutting off people, and Amazon's cutting off people. Some of your tenants are going to lose jobs. Here in Boston, Boston Housing Authority is our biggest Section 8 provider. They came back to us in December of last year and basically said the federal government didn't pay us, so we can't pay you. It was about 20 days before we actually got those fundings, and 90% of our portfolio is subsidized housing. So I would say today for me, it's survival. It's just getting to the next day, getting to the next month, getting through this month, getting your bills paid, and then hoping, and not hoping, waiting, because that upswing is going to come, and just being ready for that upswing. So.
Yeah. Mario, what about you?
Success for me back then was making a lot of active income, making as much money as possible, making sure that I at least um, got a two or three time return on my money when I was wholesaling. That was success. If I was able to get a two, or at least put actual after all expenses 30 to 35% in my pocket, um, that was success for me back then. Success for me now is like I had mentioned earlier, is equity. As much equity as I can get as possible, as fast as possible, because that's my ultimate goal. At the end of the day, have a X dollar amount portfolio, and then work if I want to work. Not because I need to work. And on top of that, another big part. Oh, and back then, um, I would be in it left and right all day, every day, up and like I was in it, working 10, 12 hour days or whatever it may be, or 8 hour, whatever it may be. Now, the other part of success besides the equity is having either AI or an assistant or a team handle everything, where I go in if I want to, or if there's a major fire that needs to be put out for me to go in and deal with it. Other than that, other than something like that, I want to be on the beach in Dominican Republic, in Cancun or whatever, and be on my phone handling something if I need to handle it. So in summary, success is the growth of equity of all of my properties now in the future, and then the systems, people's process in place with AI, with technology, where I don't have to be there to manage it.
Sure. Matt, what about you?
I think the definition of success needs to change. So if you're not changing your definition of success, let's say every 3 to 5 years, you're probably not growing. Um, back in 2008, 9, when I started, success for me was trying to get as many rentals as possible under my belt and grow my portfolio and get more cash flow. Somebody just asked me what my biggest success was in real estate the other day, and I had to think back to 2016 where we welcomed our daughter into the world, and I basically got to be a full-time father for, I don't know, for a year, 2 years of her life. I was primary caretaker. My daughter wanted, or my wife wanted to go back to work, and I was happy to support her, and I stayed home with our daughter. And the fact that I had built the business up until that point allowed me to step back and just kind of let things coast. And now my daughter's 9 years old, and she's kind of, stuck in the regular school calendar, if you want to call it that. Um, Neither my wife or I would want to do any kind of homeschooling. I don't know if we have the patience for that. So we just got her in regular school. And so now we're kind of limited by if we can travel or what we can do. So now I'm kind of back into the building mode and trying to be successful by branching out and building my team, maybe helping other people build their businesses and working with them and helping them do that. So now I'm trying to be successful by branching out. So I think it's going to change every, I don't know, 3 to 5 years. I mean, at least for me, I'm
No, I,
always trying to change and grow.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, hearing you guys' answers, it kind of made me want to revise mine. I was kind of like, you're absolutely right. It does need to change. I mean, I was coming into the business and I just wanted to get out of poverty, buy my mom a house, and I checked a lot of those boxes. And now, that success, like Matt said, it does look different now. It's more or less just being able to spend time with the children, being able to, take my wife out to a nice dinner, just, being there. My in-laws are getting older, my mom's getting older, just being there and being able to, take them out and, show them the world and, things that they do, let them do the things that they were never able to do while they were trying to make a better life for me. So I 100% agree with Matt that, it does need to change over time. So
Yeah, for sure. What would
You're
you
just
guys go
if
for it,
you're
Matt?
just starting out too. Maybe success is just getting that first deal done.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What's the biggest bottleneck, or a bottleneck or challenge that you guys are facing right now? And how are you approaching it? How are you working through it? I'll have Mario go first.
Having the correct or the right format or way of an SOP of systems and processes um, to put in place. For an example, what needs to be done when a tenant moves out? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 with videos how to do it, blah, 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 all of that. What needs to be done when the tenant's about to move in? Boom, boom. What needs to be done? Turn on, when they move out, turn on the water and switch it to the company's name. Switch the light to, different things like that. And then in the acquisition side, when this property is under contract, automation moves it to here, and then here gives all of the task to do and how to do it, for the simple reason, besides the fact that you need to and you should have systems and processes for every single thing. I have systems and processes for my personal life, definitely business. But for the simple reason, as well as going back to what I was talking about before success, me not having to be in there. God forbid, or for whatever reason, this assistant or employee decides to leave because they got a better position. Great for them. That's positive is great. But now we need to be able to plug someone back in there and get them up and running within a week, or 2 weeks. Because if not, then I have to step in and I can't go to Cancun or Dominican Republic, You know what I mean? So systems and processes, SOPs written out properly, documented with the videos and all of that. So that's a big thing that I try to spend as much time as I can on to get it done. But then, that might take me away a little bit from my acquisitions, which is the main thing that I'm in. So, and so that's the biggest bottleneck for me now, just getting that in place. I've started different a strategy that seems to be working now, but still have to build that. It's a lot. But besides that, that's it.
You need to book a call with Matt and you can talk about AI a little bit more. I noticed what
Yeah,
he's thinking.
right.
He's like, I got a client right here.
I might have to do that. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Happy to take that call.
I'm gonna piggyback on Mario really quickly. I'm in the same situation. I might be booking a call with Matt as well and talking about AI, its processes, its procedures. I'll tell a quick story just so I don't repeat exactly what you said. I used to work at McDonald's when I was 16 years old, and I'm coming into McDonald's, and within 2 weeks, I had mastered the fryer later, the burgers, the cash register, and the drive-through. And in my 16-year-old brain, I thought I was the man. I was like, I came in here and basically run the entire restaurant within 2 weeks. 42-year-old Willie will tell you now, no, you weren't the man. McDonald's just has some of the best systems and processes in the world, and they're able to cross-train just people just really quickly because everything is on a checklist. Everything is on a timer. You drop the fries, it's exactly 45 seconds. You put the burger in, you pull it out, it's exactly 2 minutes. That's the way I need to build my company, and that's what I've been trying to do over the last 18 months as things have been a little slower. Exactly what Mario was talking about, putting those systems and processes in place so when we hit that upswing, we can do 10 deals at a time because everybody knows exactly where they're supposed to be. Somebody steps away off the fryer later, we can put them on burgers or put them on the cash register with no problem.
Yeah, for sure. Matt?
I mean, I know that the biggest bottleneck in my business is myself. So that's why I've been trying to dig deep into AI and duplicate myself. And I actually had some success about that. Um, I've got an AI that basically could answer just about any question that I could. You can try and stump him if you want. I think he's offline right now. I need to go back in and tweak him up.
He talks about him like
But
it's a person.
yeah, I mean, he is. He's essentially me. I mean, I tried to download all my knowledge base into him. And like if I had a coaching client or something that wanted to ask a question at 2 in the morning, they could ask him a question at 2 in the morning. And I don't have to be available. So I've been trying to take myself out of all the minutia as much as possible. I've been trying to have like an AI push construction schedules, remodel schedules, whatever you want to call them. Just like, hey, so and so is finishing up with this project. So you're going to be on that project next week. I'll just have an AI. I have an AI that will just send a text to like the painter, like, hey, the drywall guy is done, so you can paint next Tuesday or whatnot. Something like that. I've been trying to kind of duplicate myself, get those processes in place, just get myself out of the day to day so I can do bigger things. Yeah, because I know I'm the biggest bottleneck. I think most people who are growing businesses are always going to realize at some point that they're the biggest bottleneck.
Can I ask you a quick question? Matt, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate for just a second and completely push back because I'm still learning AI myself, but I just got off a call with, my team and we have an executed eviction, right? So the court basically says this gentleman's not paying rent. You can go ahead, we can evict them. The process here in Massachusetts, we now hire a constable and movers. They need to go in and remove this gentleman from the property. That can cost us here 5 grand, with storage fees and everything else, roughly, right? So I said to my team, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we just offer the gentleman $500, maybe even $1,000? He can take the $1,000 check, and it seems absurd because he's also being evicted because he's not paying us rent. Now we're handing us money, but it seems absurd, but it's also financially beneficial to us if we just handed him a check for $1,000 and he got out versus 3 days from now, the constable comes and gets him out with no money, right? So my question to you is, and again, I'm not trying to, downplay AI. can AI think like that? That's I guess my biggest pushback is, would AI be able to use a strategy and think outside of just the procedures that are put in place? Or do you think it's going to get to a point where it may go, wait a minute, might be a better way, more unconventional way here to do this and get to the same solution?
So I think the bridge is the fact that yes, an AI could do that, and an AI could tell your VA, let's say, to call that tenant and say, hey, like, we just want to get this over with. What if we give you $1,000 to get out? Like, that's, we've been doing that for a long time in the Denver metro. We always called it
Cash for
cash for
keys.
keys. Yeah.
Cash for
Cash
keys.
for
Yeah.
keys.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty standard thing. And uh, yeah, my AI could suggest to a newer property manager, like, hey, or let's go back. Like, if you're a newer investor and you're like, what am I going to do about this tenant that just won't get out? My AI could suggest that, like, hey, have you thought about cash for keys? And maybe, they're up at 2 o'clock in the morning, like wondering what they're going to do about this tenant. My AI could say, hey, have you thought about cash for keys? And they could say, no, what's cash for keys? And my AI could take them through, like, what is cash for keys? Oh, well, you get this agreement, you make them sign it, and you give them $500 to get out. Um, I don't know what your guys' experience is right now, but I actually think cash for keys is kind of done. Like I get a lot of tenants who are like, it's not worth it. Like cash for keys, I think needs to be a pretty big number now. I think the tenants have finally figured out that, like, $1,000 isn't worth it when they can and
And wreak
stay
havoc.
and
Yeah.
not pay rent for. I mean, one of the reasons why we're not big in Denver Metro anymore, and we're trying to kind of move out of Denver Metro, is you could stay in Denver Metro probably for at least 3 months without paying rent before you get actually evicted by the sheriff. I mean, we've got the kind of same process as Boston, it sounds like. Eventually, you get through the court and you get adjudicated, and you get the sheriff to come move people out. But I'm going to say that that's probably a minimum of 3 months now. And when I started, you could probably get it done in 30 days.
Yeah,
Now pick
Boston's a pretty liberal place. We're still about 9 months before you before we get those executions. It's
wow.
awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now go piggyback a little bit off of what Willie said, Matt. The AI you said would suggest something like that to your property manager at 2 o'clock in the morning, but that AI you built with the knowledge base that you put that specific strategy on there prior when you were building the AI. Is that correct? Or the AI just thought of it on its own?
No, it'd probably be information that I gave it.
Got it. So you
I mean, I think that's kind of my niche in the AI world, is that I've figured out over the last 12 to 18 months basically how to train AIs to do whatever I need them to do.
okay, so where do I book a call? No.
I mean, we
No,
got
but
to
that
do the social media thing at the end,
Mario,
right?
Mario, I was trying to get the information out of him for free on this call. So
no, but that's yeah, that's really good. But yeah, I know with the little bit I know about the AI is that, it can do everything. You just have to teach it. So it's basically an employee that you teach that will never leave. Go
Yeah, I
from
mean,
there.
it's the same thing as any other employee. We're talking about compliance documents. Um, you can teach AI to figure out if compliance documents are right or wrong, and you can get to the point where they're 90% right. I mean, you probably can't get a person to be 90% right, like I said. It's probably more like 70 to 80% on people. But the thing is, you just have to teach exactly what you want. Um, Maybe I'm a bit weird too, but I guess I speak AI better. Like, you kind of
maybe.
got to speak to it like a 9-year-old. Maybe that's why I'm good at it, because I got a 9-year-old at home. So,
Yeah.
you'd say, take out the trash, or you tell your 9-year-old, can you take out the trash? And your 9-year-old says, yeah, I can take out the trash, and they just sit there. You gotta do the same thing with AI. You gotta say, no, take out the trash. not can you take out the trash? Of course I can take out the trash, but I'm not going to. I'm going to sit here until you tell me to take out the trash.
Mm.
Mm. What would you guys say? What is a recent win or breakthrough that shifted your mindset or shifted your momentum, maybe?
A recent win. Oh, really digging deep and learning appraisals. Okay. That I recently disputed four appraisals and they all came back higher, either near or at the number that it was supposed to be initially. And my own lender was like, Jesus, man, I'm gonna call you the appraisal dispute king. I'm gonna bring my clients to you when the appraisals are, when the appraisals come back lower. AI obviously helped me with it. But yeah, learning really appraisals because I was tired of, come back low, I was tired of coming back. I would never get tired of them coming back higher, obviously on a refi, but tired of them coming back higher without really understanding why, tired of them coming back lower without really understanding why. So what I did is that I literally pulled up 30 appraisals or whatever it was that I had, uh, and I loaded them all into an AI, ChatGPT, and I asked, listen, and I asked, what is it about this and that and the other? I was trying to speak to him like a 9-year-old. But what, why, this, that, blah 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 blah, and I compared it to the one that I was going to dispute, and it kind of gave me like the whole thing and explained it in summary because appraisals are like 30 pages long and they have a bunch of stuff that you're like me personally I was just like this is just too much nonsense. And finally I understood, and when I understood it was like an aha moment for understanding appraisals in the future and then understanding doing my numbers, okay, for when I buy properties or when I talk to sellers. So when I talk to sellers, they're like, "Oh yeah, this property, just like mine, sold down the street for 250,000. Yeah, that's great. But these other four properties that sold right on your street as well, they're also renovated, also nice, sold for 170. So I can't go with the 250 because when the appraisal comes, he's going to use his three properties and he's going to use C1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 as far as the condition. And all of them are going to fall in between C2 and C3. And, I don't get too technical like that into, with the seller, but that kind of gave me a little bit more of an understanding of an appraisal and why and when and who and what properties they look at to dispute it or to reach out to when I reach out to a seller and let them know I need to buy it at because I like to explain stuff to sellers as best as possible for them to understand. Like, I know you want 200,000 for your property, but I can only pay 100. Oh, you're just a shyster. Let me explain to you why I can only pay 100. Bum, 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 bum. And then they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, but I still can't take it. Okay. And, it is what it is. But that was an aha moment for me recently.
I love it. Cool. Willie?
Getting my kids in the business or getting my kids involved with money just a little bit more. My kids are 6 and 8. My son's getting ready to be 7 in a couple weeks here. And I didn't grow up, in a privileged family. I didn't learn about money, and I thought that going to Northeastern for finance would teach me about personal finance. I didn't, 5-year program at Northeastern, got out, and $200,000 later, didn't realize I didn't know anything more about personal finance than I did going in. I know a lot about corporate finance and how to, keep books and accounting and everything else. But so trying to teach my kids a lot about personal finance early. We've been doing stuff like my wife's Vietnamese, so we celebrate Asian New Year. They get money for Asian New Year, Christmas, birthdays, and for the first 5 or 6 years, we've just been kind of stacking it into a savings account and just kind of showing them the receipts. And this is how much money you have, and this is things cost money. Everything that we do in life costs money. Last couple of years, we've been using that money to reinvest. So we've opened up a stock trading account for them, and we go, hey, well, where's the cereal, the Captain Crunch that you eat every morning? What is, who makes that? And show them the little label is General Mills. Well, now we own shares of General Mills and kind of teaching them about investing in shares. we've been doing stuff like, and my daughter cried when I did this, but I took $1,000 of her money and I went and bought a coin operated washer machine and put it into one of our basements. Now the coin operated washer machine, as a matter of fact, we got to go check that because I haven't been over there in a while, is spitting off quarters, on a regular basis, and we're packaging those quarters and we're bringing them to the bank, and they're learning about investment and return on investment and getting that money back and how long the payback period, how long does it take to get that $1,000 back into your account, and then you still own this washer machine that's still paying you money, into the future. And then just recently, I think I told you guys we were down in Atlanta just recently. We got them it's kind of green light cards. So it's a green light card is a kid, a debit card for your kid. We put some little bit of money on them, and now they're making decisions when they go into the stores, and they're instead of saying, "Mom, I really like this shirt, or I really want this sweater, my son is now looking at the price tag and he's saying, I got $50 on this green light card. This sweater's 35. I don't like it that much, and puts it back on the shelf. And that shit warms my heart. It
Yo,
really does.
sorry to interrupt you, Willie, but that is an
Yeah.
amazing feeling. An
I appreciate it.
amazing
I
feeling.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I did that with my two daughters. I have a 9-year-old and 11-year-old. I got them a bank
Nice.
account like a year ago, and every time, and sorry to cut you off, man, but this is close to
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I got them the debit card, and they all every time they get good grades, they get money. They help me out with scanning the direct mail. They came back into the system, they get money. They do some stuff around the house, they get money. So every time I'm giving, and then I showed them about depositing and this and that. So they come to my office. They're like, Dad, can you deposit this $5 into my account? And then I put it, and then obviously I transfer it from my account to theirs, and then they have their card. And it was so funny. One quick story. We went to the Bahamas a couple months ago for on a cruise, and my daughter was like, oh, she wanted an orange juice or something, and she pulled out her card. She's 9 years old. She pulled out her wallet, put out her card, and paid for it. Everybody was like, wow. I was like, yeah, that's the way it
Well, it
should
should
be.
be.
And that whole thing of they go to the store, oh, I want this. Okay, well, how much is it? It's this. And literally, they do the same thing. They're like, oh, let me see. Oh, no, I don't want it that bad.
I
No,
don't want it that
they
badly.
put it away.
And that's
And
the way it should be. That shit made me so proud, man. I was just kind of like, not that he didn't buy it. I wanted to have amazing things, but the fact that he was able to look at it and say, I have 50 bucks. This thing is taking up 70% of what I have. No, it's not worth it. I want to, like I said, when mom was buying it for me, absolutely, it's the best thing in the world. But when it was my money, and that's how it should be, learning that, because I want them to go off to college when they're on their own. It happened to me. We get into the cafeteria or the student center, and there's Chase Bank is there and American Express is there, and they're all offering you these credit cards, but you don't have any experience with this money, and you think that credit card is just going to charge, charge, charge. I need to eat. I need to go here. I need to this weekend, and all of a sudden now you're $10,000 or a couple $1,000s in debt. You need to learn about that financial responsibility before you go off on your own, and I'm trying to prepare them for that as much as possible. So small win.
Yeah, I love
great,
that. I love that.
great,
Matt?
great stuff to talk about.
I mean, I think those are awesome wins. I've been trying to get my daughter um, to do financial planning type stuff like that. I mean, I've got a 9-year old. She just doesn't seem to pick it up quite yet. I don't know what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna do cash though. Um, so she's gonna actually have to count out the cash and see the cash disappear because I think that the money in the bank account's just too ephemeral. Um,
To add to that, or just to go to that, I have them log in every week to their bank account and tell me how much money they have in there every single week. They have their online login on their tablet, go to Chase, they know their password, their username, and I just ask, how much money do you have? $65.37. Okay, good. And I have in cash, $20. Okay, good. So just food for thought, man, just in case.
yeah. And then, I hate to keep harping on it, but I'm still making AI wins every day. You're talking about Mario was talking about disputing a um, appraisal a few weeks ago. I disputed an appraisal a few weeks ago. It kind of came in kind of low, and I kind of started reading through it and couldn't quite realize why he came in low. come to realize he had counted 2 bedrooms instead of 3 bedrooms. And I was like, this is an 8 unit property and they're all 3 bedrooms. And so instead of, just kind of, I don't know, getting on the phone and arguing with him or whatnot, I just basically sent him over a new appraisal, basically.
Hmm.
I was like, I had my AI write a new appraisal essentially, like, here's why it should be X, Y, and Z. Like, these are all eight units are 3 bedroom units, and 3 bedroom units are going for this price and blah 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 blah. And basically wrote up basically a complete, appraisal with AI in a matter of, maybe 30 minutes. Sent it over and he's like, yeah, that was a stupid mistake. I'm like, well, at least we're getting it right.
Exactly.
But then like um talking about money, I'm trying to finish up a build in AI that's going to be like, you know, kind of a CFO in an AI. When we started out, it was basically 10 grand and sweat. So we were trying to make anything happen anyway. Can we, put this rehab on our Home Depot credit card and delay that because they've got 6 months interest free, 12 months interest free, and then maybe we can, refinance before we get that and pay off the credit card and stuff like that. So I'm actually working on an AI CFO that will do that for you and help you walk through how you could do that. Like, do you have, a Home Depot credit card that'll let you put this rehab on your credit card? Do you have, you know, something coming in from somewhere else where you could buy this rental this week and fix it up and then do something like that?
That's really interesting. Well, what do you guys think the biggest opportunity in real estate that most investors are overlooking right now?
I I don't know about in real estate. I mean, just real estate in general. I think there's a wave. I'm gonna harp back on it. You guys familiar with this lady online, Cody Sanchez? She's all about buying businesses, and she believes that, not believes. I mean, it's statistics, right? I mean, there's a big wave of baby boomers who are retiring and getting out of the market and letting a lot of businesses go. She preaches this stuff online about just buying these laundromats and these kind of boring businesses that are cash flow businesses that a lot of these, individuals, there's a whole generation of that control most of the wealth in this country that is getting ready to say, you know what, I'm 60, 65, 70, 75. I'm going to hang it up and I need to sell this business. I need to let go of this piece of real estate. There's a big wave. There's a lot of backed up inventory. And I think if you're new, you need to get with someone like Matt, learn AI, learn the systems, learn some processes, learn how to scale up your business, get into the business and be prepared for it. So I think whether it's real estate or it's other small businesses, plumbing businesses, HVAC businesses, that requires some type of hands-on skills, I think there's a lot of opportunity to buy those real estate and those small businesses as well in the coming years. I would say the next decade is going to be, I would say in the next 10 years, there's going to be so much what you do in the next 10 years as an investor is going to be huge. And I think it's going to lead a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of wealth changing hands during that period. And I think if you're new to the business, you really need to set yourself up. And if you're experienced in the business, you just maybe need to reinvent yourself or get ready as much as possible.
I've got to jump in here because I follow Cody all the time. I would so love to just, I don't know, shadow her for a week or something like that.
Yeah.
She's got to be just wheeling and dealing 24/7, it seems like, based on her social media. I totally agree with her. I see uh, subcontractors that are just coming out to the job site to do a job for me or something, and it's like, man, like, aren't you about ready to retire? And he's like, oh, I probably would, but nobody wants to take over this. And I want to make sure that my guys still have jobs and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, maybe we should work something out. And
Yeah.
you could retire and I'll take over the business. That's one of the reasons why I want to do so much with automation is just so I can be available to do more things. Take over
Agreed.
this guy's business and make sure his guys still have jobs and make sure all these families that he provided for the last, 20, 30 years or whatever are still getting provided for. I think that's probably going to be the big thing is that a lot of these business owners want to make sure that their business continues and that fact that they've provided for, 20, 30 employees for 20, 30 years, that those employees still get taken care of.
And Matt, to jump on your point, I think you're probably the perfect person to do it with your passion for AI. Most of those businesses, most of those old school plumber, HVAC guys are not there. If they're, not to be sound disrespectful to anybody, but statistics are, I mean, chances are if you're 65, you're not, reinventing yourself at that age and implementing AI into your business. It's probably the scariest thing in the world to you. Shit, it's scary to me at 42. So I think there's an excellent opportunity for someone like yourself and a younger generation to say, yeah, this business has been running great. It cash flows. It has a brand already out there. I'm not starting a new business. How can I take this business and implement, AI into it or automation into it and make it a lot more seamless? So I think that's what I think the huge wave is. I think Matt, I said most of it and you kind of tied it in, but I think that's really what it's all about over the next decade.
And I think that those businesses are going to stick around for quite a while.
Yeah.
Um, I could actually see like spec houses, like um, the big spec companies like Lennar and stuff like that actually go by the wayside. And I could see like robots building those. But when your toilet doesn't work and you call a plumber, like I don't see a robot showing up and being able to figure out exactly why that toilet doesn't work right away.
Mhm.
Where like the personal experience of a human comes in, they're like, our toilet doesn't work because the flapper's bad, the whatever's bad. The kid flushed a toy down the toilet, because that person's got that experience. And I just don't know if we can replicate that yet. I think that one's further away. So like doing a spec build house, I think that could go by the wayside with automations and robots. But like doing a remodel on a house, you're always kind of figuring things out as you go. And you open up a wall and you run into something, so you've got to make a change in plans. I think that's still going to be pretty hard to get automated and get AI to figure out.
100%. Mario, what about you?
I think just I'm sorry, but it's real estate. There's no specific thing. There's so many avenues you can go into, real estate where there's, future in it. As long as you get the knowledge and you're consistent and you do the work. The technology, that will be more attached to real estate, piggybacking off of Matt, and Willie, that's an avenue within real estate that is something, very much coming up in the future. I don't know, maybe uh overseeing or managing the robots that are going to build the new houses that Matt talks about. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, just real estate in general. It's where it's at for me, and obviously I'm in it, so there's nothing else. I'm the type of person which is not always good, but it's not always bad. Have the blinders on, and I'm there, and this is where I'm at. That's it. Now, obviously, what I was saying earlier, you kind of have to adapt to the times. That have the blinders on, but obviously still, making sure I'm still adapting to the times. But just real estate in general, and there's so many different avenues of it. To give you really one specific, I can't because someone can start in just doing ADUs for some reason. There's I forget his name. He's all over social media. He's a big ADU guy. Somebody can blow up doing just ADUs, and I'm talking about be very, very successful. Then somebody can just be very successful with mobile homes. Mobile home parks is a big thing now, as well. So there's opportunities everywhere in the horizon. It's just a matter of you getting in there doing the work because no matter how good the opportunity is within whatever branch of real estate or businesses or whatever, if you don't do the work and get your systems and processes in place and the technology, doesn't matter how great the opportunity is. You gotta put in the time, the effort, and the work.
I'll divert from AI on this one. I think their big opportunity is just to get in there and get after it and get your hands dirty. Whatever you're passionate about, get in there and get after it and get your hands dirty. Um, it seems like we're all kind of older, let's say, in this call.
The bald,
Um,
shiny heads would say so, yeah.
mine's starting to go away.
And the one or two grays that are gonna go in there.
I got some grays here too. I hate to harp on it, but like, I feel like there's some people out there in younger generations now that just don't want to get in there and get after it and get your hands dirty.
Entitled.
We talk about house hacking, we talk about doing these things. Like my wife and I started, she was working 9 to 5 and I was working on our properties, and she'd come quit the 9 to 5, after 5 o'clock, and she'd come help me work on the properties. We got in there, got some sweat equity, got properties built. And like, talk about house hacking. I'm still house hacking essentially. I started doing house hacking before we ever called it anything. You just had a housemate, you just had a roommate. Figure out how to get something done and get it done. Like, I've got some guys on my construction crew. It's like the wind blows the wrong direction and the clouds come in and they're like, oh, not a good day for working. I'm going to stay home. I'm like, how are you feeding your family? And then I've got other guys. They're like, give me more work, give me more work. They're like putting in 60 hours a week. And I'm like, you guys need to back off just a little bit because I can't keep up and get you enough work.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I hate to harp on, younger generations not getting in there and getting things done, but like figure out what you're excited about and get in there and get it done.
100%. 100%. Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on. Everyone, thanks for being in here. For those of you who are watching this on replay, these are going to be every other Thursday. So make sure you're in here so you can ask questions and be in it. And I appreciate you guys for coming on, and everyone have a great day.
Thank you.
Appreciate you having me.
All righty.
Appreciate everybody. Good conversation.
Anytime.
All righty. You guys have a good one.